Great rising, everyone. Welcome to our Unblinded Sales Mastery Morning Huddle, where we talk every single morning, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 to 9 about the fun and excitement of exponentially growing your sales. My name's Fernando, and we're here to discuss your life, your money, your time, your magic, and more importantly, step into the conversations of integrity-based human influence, ecosystem mergers, and watching all of us win. It is Trajectory Tuesday, so let's go in for one share, 30 seconds. I'll pass the microphone over to Sean. What are you present to on Trajectory Tuesday? Trajectory Tuesday meaning where you are and thinking about where you want to be. Who would like to share, maybe who is new, or who would like to introduce someone that is new first? We'll wait a couple seconds and then please back to the movement. What are you focused on where you're going today on Trajectory Tuesday? So anyone new or anyone that would like to introduce a new member, 3 seconds, if not back to the community to share where you're going on Trajectory Tuesday. Ready, go. All right, back to the community.
Hey, Fernando, speaking of why, asking, can you explain, is there a time where it's not okay to ask? Or do you think it's always okay to ask for the sale? Because as salespeople, I was always told, you got to ask for the sale. But is there a time you think you shouldn't be asking?
You know, that's a beautiful question, and I want to answer. Let me just pause for a second. 8:30, Sean, are you here with us?
I am, and
All right.
happy Trajectory Tuesday, and
Hi,
Jay
Sean.
and Fernando, and good morning. Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody is ready to rock and roll on this Trajectory Tuesday. And if you're not, that's why we're here, to get ourselves ready to go for sure. So, Fernando, why don't you share what's on your heart and mind in Jay's answer, and then I'll follow up on it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the reminder.
Fernando, can I jump in real quick
Sure.
and ask you? So people tell me a lot of times, because I do ask, that I don't have boundaries, which I know I don't have, but I've been working on. How does that go from a plus, like a positive to a minus, from like good boundaries versus bad boundaries?
Yeah, beautiful question. And thank you. We'll add that context in, Liba and Sean. Thank you for reminding me to go into my heart. I'm currently in my head thinking about the things that need to be done. So to acknowledge that, and then I'd love your intake as well. I believe it's always, as long as we're congruent and in the formula, asking for the sale, quote unquote, stepping into agreement formation, does not always have to be credit card. In the world of ecosystem merging, it could mean, meeting a more influential person. It could mean, setting up a longer call because there was time restraints. I believe it is in disservice to not move the ball forward, not only to the person, to you. If you're there investing your time, your love, if you're there deeply caring, and you do not move the ball forward, if you do not move the ball to helping them see what they're not seeing, that is a form of lacking integrity. So my direct answer, and then Liba, I'm bringing your question in with boundaries. As long as we're in the formula, we're congruent, and we're not stepping into a very incongruent ask, meaning like completely out of nowhere, maybe putting a person on the spot, maybe having them feel pressured. I believe it is always with love and integrity to step into agreement formation, because when people say yes, transformation begins. No yes, no transformation. So it is always important to be moving the ecosystem merger forward, as long as we're congruent in the formula with love and integrity. So Sean, your thoughts?
Yeah. I agree, and I think asking people how they're feeling about moving forward and checking in before we're asking, I think, is a critical step that gives people the space to share openly and honestly how they're feeling. And related to what Leva was saying, I think a great space to always be in, Leva, you're talking about boundaries and what that looks like, is to try to understand, to understand where the other person is coming from. So in every situation that we're communicating with people, the most important thing is them, not us. So effective boundaries for ourselves look like the concept of, how is this other person feeling in my communication, or how is the group feeling about my communication? And that's a phenomenal jump off point for connecting and staying connected to people. So with that said, it's Trajectory Tuesday, and we're ready to accelerate and move ourselves forward. I'm always sharing things that I'm reviewing, and there's a new access point for me. I'm reading a book on negotiating. You go, well, aren't you supposed to be teaching it? Of course, but I'm always sharpening everything that I'm learning. And I had never had heard of it. I had never read, never Split the Difference. And when I'm saying these things, I'm not recommending books to read, because the idea is how much can we distill and share and synthesize all of the most optimal information. So we will be distilling and sharing optimal information, and also where the validations come in. And it's remarkable. Never Split the Difference is certainly a trajectory shifting book, because it's all about being in the formula. And what it talks about is, Tiffany, could you mute everybody? We're getting some background stuff somewhere. It's about how FBI negotiations work, and how the number one FBI hostage negotiator of all time ended up taking a course at Harvard, in Harvard Negotiating School, and feeling out of place and not belonging. And very rapidly, he came to learn and understand that the Harvard model of negotiating, which top business people in the world were taking, obviously paying extraordinary amounts for in time and energy at Harvard, he was realizing through mock processes that they went through, that, and it being recognized in the classroom by these incredible people, how much more effectively their systems worked. And drop the mic, drum roll, please. It was because it was rooted in empathy. It was rooted in level 5 transformational listening. And so I'm laughing because it's so extraordinary. As you look around and synthesize this work, the validations that occur in so many different directions. So level 5 transformational listening is something, I see you, I hear you, what you say matters to me, rooted in empathy, is the cornerstone foundational dynamic of FBI hostage negotiating, and all the validation from them taking this work into the business world certainly riddled throughout the book. So it's just it was fun, and I share that from a validating perspective for everything that we're dealing and talking about, as well as clarity and energy around the space of deepening your listening. And that's why the question we've asked is so important, because it's all rooted foundationally on the other person, which is all we ever talk about. I see you, I hear you, what you say matters to me, with a genuine empathy for people. And if the FBI negotiators can create genuine empathy for people who've taken hostages, terrorists, people who've done heinous and horrific things, then I think we certainly have a beautiful access and opportunity to create empathy for all the people that we're just walking around the world, bumping into and meeting, building relationships with. So that's a fun jump off point there. And on this Trajectory Tuesday, a check-in space for everybody is, how you doing? Like, how are you doing in terms of creating your acceleration out there in the world? And one of the things that is a breakthrough self-mastery dynamic related to our trajectory acceleration is our time blocking. And so it's getting ourselves to follow our time blocking in process mastery. So self-mastery is getting yourself to act. Process mastery is following our time blocking. So the question I have for you as the breakthrough access point in this Trajectory Tuesday is, are you actually time blocking yet? And in your time blocking, we all wear different hats. And the hats that we wear include a hat of ecosystem creation, increasing, so one, ecosystem creation. We wear many hats, but we at least wear these in accelerating our sales. The creation of ecosystem. 2, the acceleration of its frictionlessness. 3, what we actually are doing. So we need to create ecosystem relationships. 2, we need to increase their frictionlessness. 3, we need to actually execute on the ecosystem agreement and the increase in frictionlessness. So let's pause there. So what does that mean? It means, for example, Jay Levine. With Jay, there was the creation of ecosystem. He wants to create relationships in the real estate space. He's interested in exploring the ecosystem vertical of realtors for himself and for how that can work synergistically related to Unblinded. The increase in frictionlessness equals coming together for an event. And third, having the actual event is a time block. So each of those three things are different time blocks. So if you're sitting in the seat of Jay, it was creating a relationship with Unblinded. It was increasing some frictionlessness, like, hey, would we agree that, you know, people from Unblinded would come like to this and support it? Third, then we have to have the time to actually execute on having it. Fourth, then after having it, we need to have a process of following up. So all four of those things need time blocking as an example. And the question is, are you yet time blocking your ecosystem creation? Like you're putting blocks in to create ecosystem, and not only creating the block, are you actually executing? Are you having phone calls? Are you having meetings? Is it occurring? We're not talking about tactically how you're influencing within that conversation, the formula. We're just in process mastery conversation right now. Are you actually having that time blocked and following through in your self-mastery? Second, are you once there's an interest, a conversation about it, are you actually increasing its frictionlessness towards doing something? Third, are you actually doing those things? So a beautiful barometer of where things are and how you're doing your acceleration, a number to measure and monitor, is how many speaking engagements are you having per month, including and distinguishing those speaking engagements between the shooting of a video, a podcast. The easiest speaking engagements for you to create are you shooting of videos, breaking videos down into two separate categories. One category of shooting videos is where you're shooting videos by yourself. The shooting videos by yourself is certainly valuable and important in a variety of different ways, which include you creating you accelerating your skill sets in how well you're effectively communicating, how you're landing, reviewing and watching yourself, and simply asking the question of, what is this video conveying about me to the other person? How are they perceiving me? What heroic characteristics are present? Okay. Then shooting videos of other people begin to create a relationship dynamic and acceleration, of course, rooted in the influence mastery component of what's the value for these other people. And I want to check back in for a moment. When I first started shooting videos with other people, the question for them initially was like, well, why would I want to do this? Why are you doing this? And the value, the critical importance of the value that I was sharing with them include the very basic dynamic of, hey, listen, shooting videos improves your skill set at building relationships with other people. It's a public speaking engagement. I think there's more value even than that it adds, but its most basic fundamental is I'm working really hard on improving my skill sets always in public speaking, and I'm offering an opportunity to step in with me. There's some unique things to share about it, to step in with me and shoot a video because it's going to support you in creating acceleration. How do you feel about that? So just that piece, feel like, wow, that's interesting, that's valuable. And so it began. So on this Trajectory Tuesday, we're giving you a little process mastery audit. And if it's not happening, a little self-mastery audit. The process mastery audit is, are these things happening? Ecosystem merger conversations in time blocks, the creation of frictionlessness acceleration. Third, the actual occurrence. And then even a quick influence mastery check-in on shooting a video of what you're saying to people. And doing them yourself, doing them with other people, and the value added, its most basic, includes the idea of them improving their skill sets. Because many people are just going to say no out of their own fear of failure or rejection, and you're giving them an access point to move forward and accelerate. So quick check-in, does anybody want to check in on where you are in a positive or negative way? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. On creating time blocks of ecosystem merger conversation, frictionlessness, holding speaking, measuring, monitoring, and holding speaking engagements per month, which include videos, podcasts, TV appearances, actual groupings of other people from something like a hotel room or an organizational room, or even having dinners with 2 or 3 people where you're out there creating ecosystem and have people have the ability to say yes or no to you as an ecosystem partner, or dinner. So these are the things we're using our influence mastery on, at least, and others. But these are quick check-ins. And if you're not executing on them, let's talk about why. And if you are, let's share how you're leveraging yourself forward to do it. So who's got something they'd like to check in with?
Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, it's Tony. How's it going?
Beautiful. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Well,
so where are you calling from today, Tommy? Okay.
Tony, it's Tony Rodriguez.
Oh, Tony, I think you said Tommy. My apologies. I didn't hear you all, Tony. So Tony, what's up, Tony R?
All good, all good. Well, I mean, I think that what you're talking about, the video, it's so important. I've been doing videos for a long time, actually. I'm actually now in the middle of, well, not in the middle, today's day 63 of 366 days of live video that I committed to doing this year to push myself out of my comfort zone, which I'm comfortable doing video, but committing to the time blocking to doing one every day and having a topic that's going to be appealing each time, I think is important. And to add validation to your point, what those videos do, it does really make you more comfortable, makes me more comfortable about speaking, public speaking. It opens up a lot of doors. Actually on the 6th and 7th, so this Friday and Saturday, I'm actually gonna be speaking in Houston. And that speaking engagement came from someone who's watching my videos and said, hey, listen, I really want you, as a matter of fact, and Dana, because you guys know Dana, I want you and Dana to come on my stage. So we're actually speaking on the 6th and 7th in Houston on somebody else's stage. And that became possible because of the videos, because of the content creation, because of adding value to people and adding, again, just putting content out there and putting yourself out there, making yourself uncomfortable to the point of exposing some of your weaknesses, some of your strengths, or whatever it is that you're talking about. So, and that's leading to more speaking engagements. And I may be speaking in front of a very large, Fortune 100 company because of it as well, which I'm, more on that later as it gets a little tighter. And I'm holding my event, as you know, in a couple of weeks as well. Now I'll share that. I'll share those dates probably later today when they're concrete, when they're set in concrete. So, time blocking, a lot of days I don't feel like doing those videos, or I'm like, oh, I forgot to do them. So sometimes I do them at 11:30 at night or whatever it is, but I did make the commitment to do it. So I am, I'm obviously holding to that commitment. I encourage everyone else to even maybe come on Unblinded and do a 7-day commitment to do a video every day for 7 days, or for 30 days, or for 5 days. And it doesn't have to be a 15-minute video. It can just be a 2 or 3 minute video introducing yourself to everyone, which I think would be great, because that also gives you the mic, so to speak, right? It gives you the power of the mic. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you about? What change or what impact are you looking to make in your business, in your family life, in the world? So,
Tony, that's a beautiful idea. Love that. Thank you for that outstanding contribution. Yeah, that's a great challenge for people to introduce themselves, post their videos. Fantastic, brother. Second, congratulations on your commitment and following through. Let me just ask you this real quick. How do you leverage your self forward and your self-mastery related to shooting the video? So just real quick, what's the pain or pleasure point, that access point that keeps you moving forward doing those videos every day?
Well, first, and here's what I'll say on the videos. Sometimes when I get started, and even me, and I've got hundreds of videos at this point. When I get started, sometimes I'm in my head, to what Fernando was saying before. You're right, I'm in my head. So when you're in your head, you're thinking too much about what you've got to say. When you get into your heart, you just get into flow. So it's speaking from your heart. The leverage point is I get daily messages, and never mind the comments that people see on the live stream or after the fact, but I get daily private messages of people telling me how, thank you so much for continuing to do this. You don't have no idea. This is help, this has saved my life, or this is saving my marriage, or this has saved, thank you for your daily messages and whatever it is. So I get a lot out of that myself. So And for me, it started with my having a pain point, my struggling with something. So, you know, part of my story, Sean, I'm not going to get into it now, but 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I had basically a traumatic event, we'll call it. And I didn't sleep for 3 days, and I was starting to lose my mind over it. So I started walking, and then I decided that I was going to start putting my thoughts on video. And this is before Facebook Live. So I would just do a 1 minute video, 2 minute video, talking about a particular topic that was on my mind. Because if I'm thinking these things in my mind, then I'm not, you know, I'm not alone, right? Tony talks about how we only have 10 or 12 problems across the world. They're just different, they're varying degrees of the same problem. So if I'm having that challenge and that I'm having that conversation in my mind, why not have it out loud and help other people along the way? And I think that the more you give, the more you help other people get what they get. If you figure out a way of getting through something or to handle a problem, handle a challenge, then you owe it to the world to put that out there. You know, because your challenge of climbing that mountain, right? Your challenge of climbing that mountain, the problems that you had climbing that mountain could really be somebody else's survival guide. Somebody's listening to you and what you went through and what you're going through and what the challenges are. They say, shit, I'm thinking the same thing. I am not alone. You know, there's people that, unfortunately, suicide rates are now all-time high in this country among males specifically. And that's because people don't express themselves, and they all think that they're alone and there's nobody else going through it. What the hell's wrong with me? You know, I'm an idiot or whatever. I'm alone. So I think that just by going out and sharing your message, sharing your voice, sharing your heart, and letting people know that there's other people out there that care and everything else. At least that's part of my message. I mean, I know I'm not saying that that's the message to go across everybody, right? And Unblinded and everywhere else, but that's just me doing my part, my contribution. And I think the more you give, the more you get. And I'm not giving to get, but that's kind of what happens. You know, things come to me, and ecosystem mergers and opportunities come to me because I'm putting myself out there, and I'm out there trying to make my impact, and I am. So.
No, Tony, that's awesome. Thank you for that phenomenal share. And you are certainly somebody, and this is for everybody, that sits in the space of deep listening and empathy for people. And that common denominator in your videos, in your public speaking, that love of people, that depth of listening. I see you, I hear you, what you say matters to me, and that empathy is the engine. You know, that's the foundational core. Doing a beautiful job. Thank you for that great share on this Trajectory Tuesday. And without going into the answer, one final gift to you, I would say, Tony, would be this question. How can you accelerate the beautiful work that you're doing these 366 days in the most powerful ways to expand your ecosystem? So what reaches can you make as you're doing these every day to certain key ecosystems to expand yourself 10 times more in the next 60 days? So just like ponder that, and not even ponder it, just reflexively answer it for yourself today and keep that acceleration going. You're doing a beautiful job, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate it, brother. And the one thing I'll say is when people are out there talking, remember to walk your talk. Don't just talk the talk. Eat your own cooking or whatever, however you want to do it, because that's where the next level of mastery is. It's fine to know the words and to speak the words, but to live it and to walk your talk, I should say. So that's it. That's my piece. Thanks. Sorry for the long answer.
Thanks, Tony. No, thank you, bro. It wasn't. Great. Okay, we heard of a woman's voice. Who's that?
Yes, Rose Santiago. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Rose. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. It's my.
And where are you calling from today? Where are you calling from today?
New Jersey.
Say who you are and where you're calling from today.
Yes.
What town?
I'm calling from New Jersey. And that's where I'm at. Yes. So I just wanted to say, yes, I'm right now, I started doing videos last summer. I came out with my first book last January. It's called Live Your True Essence. Awesome. And it's all about personal development and the things that you talk about. So I totally resonate with all of that. And right now, my fear was videos. I was, to be in front of a camera, I felt a little vulnerable, like being in front of a camera and just like doing a video and speaking from my heart. It was a tough start, but I'm now getting accustomed to being in front of the camera, doing videos of all the things I do in my life that can impact other people, and just showing that, taking those blocks of time, like you were talking about earlier, taking blocks of time to really figure out how to connect with other people, how to find other ways. I'm actually starting a podcast this month, my first time doing a podcast. So that's another area where it's a little nerve-wracking, but I really want to do it because I think that I want to just connect with people a lot and know their lives and how they can impact other people that are listening to the podcast. So it's a lot of things going on, and just doing videos, and I started my YouTube channel as well. So I'm trying to connect in different ways to people.
Yeah. Awesome job, Rose. So quick access. Thank you for that awesome share. I hear your energy, your consistency, and the same thing that I was sharing with Tony. This is now for everybody, you, Rose, and everybody. When we're in our process mastery, checking back into what we're talking about, and so fantastic job by Tony Rose. Let's always check in with what we're doing right or optimally, you know, and optimally is shooting videos consistently, 366 days. Tony's fantastic. You know, Rose consistently, having written a book, awesome breakthrough, fantastic job, and shooting videos as well. The question we always have fun and ask ourselves is, okay, how can I take, what am I counting? Okay, so let's say I'm Tony, it's 366 videos for the year, fantastic. I'm counting that. There's a consistency, right? There's ecosystem merging potential there by counting an additional thing. How many videos am I doing with other people? Then another thing we can count there, how is the quality of those videos? How is that working? Like what's resonating, what's not, in our own self-assessment. We can also count who is it, the level of influence that people have. And it doesn't have to be number of followers online, but the level of influence people have, and counting a threshold level of people of influence or an average level of influence that's appearing on our videos could be an additional thing that we count. What else can we count? We can count the number of actual webinars or podcasts that we do. We can count the number of speaking engagements that we have. And so none of it feels, and some of that could go, wow, that's landing heavy. It's a lot of things to be thinking about. Not really. It's like a little scorecard. So in our journaling, which we'll talk about in our self-mastery, it's keeping scorecards and seeing how things shift and evolve over time. So we have a perspective, you know, at times now, I, like you, feel in a space of being a bit overchunked. A lot is happening right now. A lot is happening. And so you sit back and go, oh, like, am I making the progress I want to? Does it feel right? Our feelings lie. And what ground, and we are driven by those feelings. What can ground our feelings into more accuracy is seeing your advancement, is seeing that, wait a minute, I didn't used to shoot videos, now I do. Wait a minute, did I just have her on my video? Did I have him on my video? Did I this month have those 5 people of influence? I remember when I thought I couldn't even have it. Did I just have a speaking engagement, I'm sorry, with Joseph McClendon? Did Jay Abraham fly across the country and come speak on our stage? Did Tony Robbins just come by and give me a hug and say that he loved me and chat? Am I going to speak at UPW? Like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, progress is happening. Did I have the president of the Bar Association at this event? Did I have the president of this at this event? Did I have lunch with these people? Am I flying across the country to talk to 100 of the top chiropractors in America? Most successful at a cultivated, curated group? Oh, yeah, I'm doing that this week. Is that the same week that this other stuff happened? Like, oh, yeah, progress, because we're counting. So beautiful job for everybody. And the message on this Trajectory Tuesday is time blocking and counting. Time blocking and counting. Time blocking, so it's actually going to happen in each of the categories we talked about, and counting, so you're grounding yourself in the reality of your progress. Because the great lie of our nervous system is, this isn't working. I can't do this. It's not happening. It's a lie. It's a lie. I told myself the same thing when I rode a bicycle and threw it off the fence and got a bloody nose when it bounced off the fence and hit me in the face. That actually happened at Overpeck Park in New Jersey back in the early mid-70s. That happened. So that can happen for us, though, at this stage, and feel like, yeah, nothing is working. I'm not accelerating. It happened for me when I was playing at Columbia University, and my sophomore year I was struggling. And there I was, having started every single game as a freshman and now struggling a little bit, starting my sophomore year as I was adjusting my hitting process. And I was feeling terrible, and I was lying to myself because I wasn't relating to the progress that was actually happening. And so then it was a little bit of a backslide in progress. My mind, my nervous system, my emotions were lying to me, and so were yours. It's natural. The grounding effect, though, of counting things and seeing where you were and where you are now, markers of progress, right? Maximization through measure monitoring, cornerstone of this program, this Trajectory Tuesday. That said, Jared, what's present for you and what's happening?
Awesome call, everybody. What is present for me is, I say this often, but it just keeps happening, is momentum builds on momentum. And there's just an enormous amount of momentum right now. And what we're talking about today is the epitome of that. Like Tony doing 66 days of videos is momentum building on momentum. And everything that Sean just mentioned that's happening right now with Unblinded and with himself is momentum building on momentum. So it's just about starting the process. So that's what's present for me, is for anyone out there that's been showing up for these calls, that is a version of momentum. And when you take action based on what you're learning on these calls, that's momentum building on momentum. And it's feeling worthy enough for all of this wonderful opportunity to show up in your life because you're out there creating it. So what's present to me is that. What present to me is we have Cody Hicks, who's a really great example of momentum building on momentum, doing a webinar today at 3 o'clock Eastern time. There'll be an invitation posted in the Facebook group shortly. I encourage all of you to at the very least register, and if you can make it, show up as well. Cody's gonna be talking about what the mastery program has meant to him and how integrity-based human influence has dramatically changed his life and also his business. So that's a great example of momentum building on momentum. Tomorrow night, Jay Levine has literally filled 3 times, because he kept on calling the general manager of the restaurant to see if we can fit some more people. But 3 times he has filled the same event. So there's 105 people coming to the Bonefish Grill in Paramus, New Jersey tomorrow, real estate professionals for the ultimate ecosystem merger. And what's also present for me, and there's going to be a post in the Facebook group shortly about this, is the Mission 130 event that is weeks away. We are posting an invitation to join. This is with the Voyager School, and we encourage you to come out and attend. But it's Thursday, March 19th. It's a fundraiser. Sean is going to be doing an hour keynote presentation prior to the fundraiser starting. So it's in Manalapan, New Jersey. There's a post going up shortly. We encourage you to attend there. This is just examples, and just a few examples of momentum building on momentum. And I hope that's what everybody hears today. Start the process, and you can start your momentum as well. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, awesome. Count stuff, time block, and accelerate. Count stuff, time block, accelerate. Love yourself. You have every right in the world to massive success and the money, time, and magic you desire. You have every right in the world to it. And then go share, inspire other people to do the same. Have a beautiful and amazing Trajectory Tuesday. Thanks.